eye-catching murals are popping up all over Hillsborough County. Have you ever wondered about the people behind them? We'll meet one next on the Borough. Public art contributes to the cultural fabric of Hillsborough County. Today we meet Michelle and Tony, local artists making a big difference in the borough. So Michelle, this is a great work of art. I mean, tell me about this mural.
This mural was commissioned by Pepin Distribution and Stella Artois.
Right.
It was to be painted in conjunction with their Art of the Chalice event, and they actually had a custom chalice made with this image on it. This was inspired by Tampa sunsets.
Yeah.
Driving down the interstate, we travel a lot back and forth to paint these murals, and if you look at the sky, there's usually a gradient from your turquoises to yellows, and we pulled that as our inspiration.
It's amazing. I mean, it's very Tampa, very Hillsborough County. You do murals in other places too. Where might someone see some of your other work?
The closest one to this is over at the Portico, which is about a block down Tyler and on Florida Avenue,
Okay.
the Portico Cafe. And there is another one on Tampa Street at Shuffle, which is fairly close.
Right.
We have, there's one in Novel, which is the new apartment complex. It's just next to the Strat Center.
I mean, it's exciting. You drive around town, you see all this great work. It's you, and I know there are a bunch of other local artists that are doing it, but how do you get started in this? How did you say, I'm gonna paint murals?
I started personally doing it to kind of make a little extra money as a teacher.
No, it makes sense.
I wasn't paid during the summer, so I started painting residential things on my own, and then I met my partner, Tony, and we just started painting them. He had this idea that, well, if you can do something in X amount of time, then we could do something bigger more quickly.
Yeah.
So we just kind of started. It's challenging, so each project I kind of start off with a bit of being unsure as to whether or not I can do it. Logically, I know I can, but some of these walls are fairly large, and the larger the wall, it becomes sort of intimidating.
Yeah, it's
really.
gotta be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's with anybody, what they do for a living. Sometimes you take on a project and think, how can I do this? You know you've got the skills to do it, but it's actually kind of seeing it through and putting it in progress. So I can understand that that would be when a canvas this big.
This one in particular.
Tony, you guys do great work with these murals, but you also have a gallery. What kind of installations do you house there?
We do some local, but we usually pair up a local artist with sort of a more internationally known artist. So we've been, the beginning of this year, we're going to be doing some graffiti artwork that is kind of from some of the pioneers that started graffiti in the Bronx in New York City.
Yeah.
So it's cool because it's sort of like a looking back in history of the evolution of like street art. You know, a lot of it was in the subways in New York City. That's where it kind of came from. Started in Philly, and it kind of goes through that Eastern Transit system when it got to New York, and there are a lot of those veteran artists that are still creating work, you know, that came from that time, and we're lucky enough to be able to bring some of those to Tampa.
I feel like the arts community is really changing. It's kind of had a little cultural revolution recently, and I think you and Michelle are a part of that. So can you speak to that movement here in our community?
Galleries come and go. You know, there's the academic side of galleries, there's the new contemporary side of galleries, and then we're kind of like in the middle. So we do a little bit of local stuff, and it's so important because art, like, you know, art's as ancient as language and hieroglyphics, you know, so to have a good solid art community is valuable. And you know, we try to help as many people as we can, sometimes overly helpful, you know, and a lot of people don't really understand it. They don't understand what we do and why we really want to have a good solid arts community in Tampa. But it just comes back to that. It's history, you know. It's
history, and it's a well-rounded community. I mean, it contributes to so much of our quality of life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we kind of take that stuff for granted. But you know, street art's become really mainstream, so that's kind of fun to see.
It is. You know, murals are becoming extremely popular. It's nothing new. I mean, and that's been going on since the Sistine Chapel.
Right.
You know? I mean, so it's not necessarily new. It's just a resurgence here in Tampa. A lot of that is due to what Shine is doing, and also a lot of the art that's on the streets that's growing. I mean, Tampa is finally growing into its pants a little bit, I think, and you're going to see more graffiti. You're going to see more tagging and stuff like that. It's just part of the conversation of people being on, you know, living in a city.
Yeah.
And it all kind of happens at the same time. I think it's wonderful, like just having people communicating with their environment, whether it's murals on walls and so forth. And we want to accurately, you know, contribute to that culture.
And I'd love for the arts and that business to be here in Hillsborough County. So hopefully someone's listening and can make that happen for themselves as well.
Sure.
Hillsborough County is turning into an art and cultural hotspot thanks to the artists at MergeCulture. Now go out and explore the borough. Hey Hillsborough, get social with us at the Borough 813 on Instagram and check out our other social channels at Hillsborough FL.